Hey, today we're talking about giving compliments in English. Now, of course, we all love receiving compliments, but I personally love giving compliments as well. And I know that it can be difficult to choose the right words or to know exactly what to say when you want to compliment someone in a language that is not your own. So today we're going to talk about some tips on how to give appropriate compliments in English that will show people that you appreciate and respect them. Let's go. First of all, be specific. When you give someone a compliment that is specific to them, it's more meaningful. It shows that you really thought about what you're saying and you really mean what you are saying. So instead of a general or generic compliment like you look good or you look nice, you can be more specific by saying something like you have an amazing fashion sense, or you have an amazing sense of style, or your makeup always looks incredible. Now, there's nothing wrong with saying you look good or you look nice. Of course, these are still compliments. They are just very general. And it's always nice to receive a compliment that you realize is really specific to you. Another example, instead of saying to someone, you're nice or you're really nice, you could say, you are so generous, or you're so thoughtful, or you're so considerate. So pick a specific quality that makes this person nice. So first things first, be specific. Next, you can focus on people's efforts and their achievements when you're giving them a compliment. So for example, let's say your friend has just told you about a presentation they made at work, and the presentation was really difficult for them. Okay, so they just finished it and they're telling you about it. Instead of saying, oh, that's good, or oh, that's great, or that's interesting, or even good job, really think about the effort and the achievement that they made and compliment them on that. So you could say something like, I know how hard you worked on that presentation and I'm sure you did an amazing job. Or you should be really proud of how hard you worked on that presentation. I know it wasn't easy, but I'm sure that your hard work paid off, okay? So these compliments are much more specific and they also express empathy. They show the other person that you recognize the hard work that they've put into something that was important for them or difficult for them or a big deal for them. So even if it wasn't necessarily a big deal for you, you can always give a compliment to someone on something that they have worked hard on. Next, be mindful of your words or choose your words carefully and intentionally, okay? So for example, let's look at one compliment that can be given two different ways and see if you can hear or notice or feel a difference. Let's say that a friend of yours is wearing a beautiful dress, okay? You could say, I love that dress, or that dress is beautiful. Or you could say, you look beautiful in that dress. You look stunning in that dress, okay? So these are variations of a similar compliment, really. But the first option focuses more on the dress, and the second option focuses more on your friend. Now, even though none of these options are wrong or incorrect or rude, they're both okay. Psychologically, we receive the compliment that is more focused on us than on other things, okay? So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, this is a really small detail, but these small details are what helps you overall to improve your communication. Paying attention to these small little details, okay? Especially if you've reached an intermediate or above level of English, of course you can give compliments, right? But if you want to take those compliments to the next level, what you need to do is fine-tune these kind of little details, okay? So listen again. On one hand, you could say, that dress is beautiful, or you look beautiful in that dress. Next, this one is really important. You need to respect people's personal boundaries. Now, in the last point, I gave the example of someone looking beautiful in a dress, okay? Now, when it comes to respecting people's boundaries, it's important to think about your relationship with that person, any cultural differences. It's important to think about the situation and the context in which you are giving the compliment and whether the compliment might make them feel uncomfortable. especially when you are complimenting or commenting on someone's appearance. You need to be very, very careful with this, okay? Now, the reality of the world that we live in is that people are sensitive and people get offended by some things. There are different cultures, there are different mentalities. Not everyone thinks the same way, and not everyone sees everything as a compliment. So you might intend to give someone a compliment, but they might be a little bit uncomfortable or offended, especially when it comes to appearance. Now, I'm not saying to never ever compliment someone on the way they look. Of course, that is not the case, but you do need to assess the situation. Think about your relationship with the person, your dynamic, the setting that you are in, the place you are in, who is around, and what exactly you want to say. And when it comes to complimenting someone's appearance or the way they look, it can be tricky between men and women. And I can make another lesson on that topic, how to respectfully compliment a man or woman. Let me know if you're interested in that, and I can make a more detailed lesson on this topic. But the main point here is to just keep in mind, is this appropriate? Will this comment maybe make the other person uncomfortable? Is there a cultural difference here? Can this comment or compliment be misunderstood? These are the things that you have to consider and ask yourself before saying something, okay? And finally, be respectful and sincere or genuine, okay? It's very important that you actually mean the compliments that you're giving to people. Don't just give a compliment for the sake of it or because you think you have to or to be nice. In English, we have an expression and it goes, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And a lot of us heard this from our parents or teachers growing up. It means if you don't have something nice to say, just keep your mouth shut instead of being critical. Now, if you do have something nice to say, I always think you should say it. I told you that I personally love giving compliments, and I feel like people don't do it enough. So if you do have something nice to say, go ahead and say it. Just make sure that it comes from a genuine place. Now let's look at a few examples of appropriate, respectful, and specific compliments that you can give to the people in your life. Let's say you want to compliment someone on their talent. You can simply say, "You are so talented." But of course, you can be more specific. You can say, "You're such a talented designer. You're such a talented musician. Your music or your artwork or your designs are incredible." Okay, so here it's simple, but it's specific. Let's say you want to compliment someone on their hard work or their work ethic. You could say, "You're the hardest working person I know." You could say, "I admire how hard you work," or "I admire your work ethic." You can also acknowledge their effort and their hard work by saying, "I know how hard you work and I'm sure that it's going to pay off." You could say, "Your dedication is remarkable, amazing, incredible, admirable," okay? So lots of nice adjectives that you can use here as well. You can also compliment someone on their character or a characteristic that you admire or respect. You could say, "You are so generous," or "You are so thoughtful," or "You're such a positive person," or "I admire your positivity so much," okay? So again, pick a specific aspect or element of their character that you want to give a compliment on and really highlight that. You can also give compliments that are encouraging when someone is working on something or working towards something. Maybe they are studying or working on a challenging project at work. You could give them compliments like this: "You're doing an amazing job," or "You're really making a difference." And of course, if you want to compliment someone's appearance, remember to consider the situation, your relationship with them. But of course, people do generally like getting complimented on their appearance when it is appropriate. That is very, very important, okay? I'm sure you know compliments like, "You're beautiful," "You look lovely today," "You're very handsome," and these are about the physical appearance. But I would recommend being a little more specific and a little more creative and saying something like, "Your style is so unique, I love it." So there you have it, some simple tips to help you give better compliments in English. And like I said, I love giving compliments, and I feel like we should compliment the people in our lives more often. It really doesn't take much, and it can boost someone's self-esteem, their confidence, and just brighten up their day. All right. If you enjoyed today's lesson, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. It helps the channel to grow and reach English learners all around the world. Don't forget to grab your free ebook, English Conversations Made Simple. I'll link that down below for you. Thank you for watching, learning, and spending time with me today. I'll see you very soon in another one.